Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to remind you of something simple but powerful. Focus on your life. We live in a world full of distractions. Social media, peer pressure, comparisons, and noise from every direction can easily pull us away from what truly matters. But the truth is, your life is your own journey, no one else's. If you don't take control of it, someone else will. Focusing on your life means being intentional. It means setting goals that matter to you, not to impress others, but to fulfill your own potential. It means learning to say no to things that don't serve your purpose. It means surrounding yourself with people who lift you up, not drag you down. You don't need to have it all figured out. Life is not a race. It's a process. Every small step, every mistake, every lesson is part of your growth. But that growth only happens when your energy is directed inward, not scattered everywhere. So stop worrying about who's ahead or behind. Stop wasting time on things that don't add value to your soul. Focus on your dreams, your passions, your health, your mindset, your life. Because when you truly focus on your life, you give yourself the best chance to become the person you were always meant to be. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, distractions are everywhere. They come in many forms: social media notifications, endless scrolling, comparison with others, the pressure to follow trends, and the constant noise of opinions from people who don't even know you. These distractions might seem small, even harmless, but over time, they can slowly chip away at your focus, confidence, and clarity. Every time you divert your attention to what others are doing, you're taking your eyes off your own path. You see someone traveling the world, starting a business, or showing off their achievements, and suddenly you start doubting your own progress. But remember this: people usually only show the highlights of their lives, not the struggles, not the hard work, not the failures. Comparing your real life to someone else's highlight reel is not only unfair, it's toxic to your growth. Blocking out distractions doesn't mean you shut yourself off from the world. It means becoming conscious of what deserves your attention and what doesn't. It means limiting the time you spend on activities that don't bring value to your life. It means not letting someone else's timeline rush your own journey. It means turning down the volume of the world so you can hear your own thoughts more clearly. It also requires discipline. Focus doesn't come naturally in an environment designed to steal it. You have to actively guard your mental space like it's sacred, because it is. Whether that means turning off notifications, setting boundaries with people, or taking quiet time to reflect, do whatever it takes to create a space where your priorities come first. When you block out distractions, you give yourself the gift of clarity. You start to see what really matters. You begin to work not for validation, but for purpose. You stop trying to please the world and start showing up for yourself. And in that state of undisturbed focus, real progress begins. Being intentional means living with purpose, not just going through the motions of life. It means waking up each day and making conscious decisions that align with your values, your vision, and your goals. It's about choosing how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what you focus your energy on, not just letting life happen to you, but actively shaping it. Too often, people live on autopilot. They follow routines they never questioned, say yes to things they don't really want, and chase goals they never truly chose for themselves. They allow distractions, circumstances, or the expectations of others to dictate the course of their lives. The result? A sense of emptiness, confusion, and lack of direction. Intentional living challenges all of that. It asks you to slow down and reflect. It calls you to examine your choices and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Does this align with who I want to become? Every decision, no matter how small, either moves you closer to your vision or further away from it. When you start living with intention, even the ordinary parts of your day take on meaning. You begin to invest your time in things that truly matter and stop wasting energy on things that don't. Intentionality also applies to your mindset. Are you thinking positively? Are you growing, learning, and stretching yourself mentally and emotionally? Are you aware of your thoughts and how they influence your actions? Being intentional means checking in with yourself regularly, being present in your life rather than lost in the past or anxious about the future. Intentional people don't leave their success to luck. They plan, they act, and they evaluate. They know that goals are not achieved by chance, but by consistent, focused effort. They understand that time is limited and precious, so they don't give it away easily. They protect their priorities fiercely, and they make choices based on long-term value, not short-term pleasure. Most importantly, intentional living brings clarity and peace. When you know why you're doing what you're doing, when your actions align with your beliefs, you no longer feel scattered or overwhelmed. You're not pulled in 100 different directions. You're not living someone else's story. You are fully present in your own, with purpose in your steps and strength in your soul. Owning your journey means embracing your life with full responsibility, without apology or comparison. It means accepting where you've been, recognizing where you are, and committing to where you want to go. Too often, people live as passengers in their own lives, waiting for someone to rescue them, blaming their past, or doubting their ability to move forward. But your life is not a script written by others. It is your personal story, and only you hold the pen. Every person's journey is different. Some start early, some start late. Some paths are smooth, others are filled with obstacles. But just because your journey doesn't look like someone else's, doesn't mean it's less meaningful or important. Your experiences, both the highs and the lows, have shaped you into who you are today. Your story, with all its flaws and twists, is powerful, valuable, and worth being proud of. Owning your journey also means not running from your struggles or pretending to be someone you're not. It means acknowledging your mistakes and learning from them rather than being ashamed. It's easy to fall into the trap of self-doubt, to think you're too far behind, or that your past disqualifies you from the future you want. But in reality, your struggles are not your weakness. They are your training ground. They've given you strength, resilience, and wisdom that can't be taught in books. When you own your journey, you stop comparing timelines. You stop trying to fit into molds that don't reflect your true self. You give yourself permission to grow at your own pace, to define success on your own terms, and to make choices that serve your future, not someone else's opinion. You learn to honor your process, no matter how messy or uncertain it may be. And part of owning your journey is realizing that progress isn't always visible. Growth happens in silence, in quiet moments of decision, in the days when no one is watching but you still show up. It's in the times you keep going when it would be easier to quit. You may not always get the applause or validation, but you're building something real, something rooted in your own truth. Owning your journey is about taking full accountability, not for everything that's happened to you, but for how you respond to it and how you move forward. It's about realizing that while you can't always control your circumstances, you can always control your mindset, your effort, and your attitude. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful yet underrated skills you can develop in life. At first glance, it may seem simple, a two-letter word, easy to pronounce. But in practice, saying no can feel uncomfortable, even terrifying, especially when we fear disappointing others, missing out, or being judged. Yet the truth is, every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your purpose, you're saying no to something that does. Your time, your energy, your peace of mind. These are your most precious resources. And they are limited. If you keep spending them on things that don't align with your values, your goals, or your well-being, you'll find yourself drained, distracted, and disconnected from the life you truly want to live. That's why learning to say no is not about being rude or selfish. It's about being wise and protective of your focus. Saying no creates space. It clears your calendar, your mind, and your emotional bandwidth. It opens up time for the things that truly matter: your passions, your priorities, your rest, and your growth. It allows you to move with intention instead of obligation. And more importantly, it teaches others how to respect your boundaries. People will treat your time the way you treat it. If you treat it like it's valuable, others will start to as well. But let's be honest, it's not always easy. Sometimes saying no means turning down an invitation from friends, stepping away from a toxic relationship, or refusing to take on extra responsibilities just to appear helpful. It may mean disappointing others temporarily, but it will empower you in the long term. The more you practice, the more you'll realize that protecting your peace is worth far more than momentary approval. Saying no also requires clarity. You need to be clear about your goals, your limits, and your needs. When you know what you're working toward, it becomes easier to recognize what doesn't belong on your path. You become more selective, more intentional, and more confident in your decisions. You stop trying to please everyone, and you start showing up for yourself. And remember, every yes should be meaningful. A yes should come from a place of alignment, not obligation. If your yes costs you your peace, your health, or your purpose, it's too expensive. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every request deserves your time, and not every voice deserves a response. When you learn to say no, you reclaim control over your life. You stop living reactively and start living purposefully. You begin to act with focus rather than fatigue, with strength rather than stress. You become the gatekeeper of your own energy, your own priorities, and ultimately, your own future. The people you allow into your life, the environment you create around yourself, and the energy you consume every day. These things shape your mindset, influence your decisions, and directly impact your growth. That's why surrounding yourself with positivity is not just a feel-good suggestion. It's a vital part of building a focused and fulfilling life. You are not meant to carry your dreams alone. The right people, the right energy, and the right environment can uplift you in ways that make your journey not only easier, but also more meaningful. Positivity doesn't mean toxic optimism or ignoring reality. It means being around those who remind you of your strength, who encourage your progress, and who believe in your potential even when you forget it yourself. Take a moment to reflect on the people you spend the most time with. Do they inspire you? Do they support your goals? Do they celebrate your growth without competition or envy? Or do they drain your energy, feed your doubts, and pull you into negativity? Sometimes, the biggest obstacles in your life are not your own limitations, but the voices around you convincing you to stay small. Surrounding yourself with positivity means being intentional about your relationships. It means choosing friends who speak life into your ideas, mentors who challenge you to level up, and communities that align with your values. It also means distancing yourself from those who constantly complain, criticize, or discourage, not out of hate, but out of self-respect. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. Moreover, positivity is contagious. When you surround yourself with people who are passionate, grateful, and growth-oriented, you naturally begin to adopt those qualities. Their energy becomes your fuel. Their belief becomes your encouragement. Their example becomes your inspiration. Together, you rise. Creating a positive environment also involves self-reflection. Ask yourself, am I a source of positivity for others? Be the kind of person who uplifts, who listens without judgment, who encourages without expectation. When you give out positive energy, you attract it back into your life. And the more positivity you surround yourself with, the more resilient, focused, and unstoppable you become. Speech growth is not a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong process. To truly focus on your life, you must commit to continuous evolution. This means constantly learning, adapting, reflecting, and becoming a better version of yourself day by day, season by season. You are not meant to stay the same. You are meant to grow, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and professionally. The world around you is always changing. Technology advances, challenges shift, Opportunities arise, and people come and go. If you remain stagnant while everything else moves forward, you'll eventually feel left behind, not because you weren't capable, but because you stopped growing. Evolution keeps you relevant, confident, and prepared for whatever life throws your way. But evolution isn't always comfortable. Growth often comes from discomfort, failure, and uncertainty. It requires you to leave behind familiar habits, outdated mindsets, and sometimes even people or places that no longer align with your direction. It asks you to look in the mirror and be honest about where you're falling short, and that takes courage. But every time you choose to rise, to improve, to take even one small step forward, you're evolving into the person you're meant to become. Keep evolving also means being curious. Never stop asking questions, seeking knowledge, or exploring new skills. Whether it's reading, traveling, trying new experiences, or engaging in deep conversations, every new input expands your perspective. And the more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to discover, not just about the world, but about yourself. You must also evolve emotionally. This means developing self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and the ability to respond to life with grace and strength. Learn from your mistakes, but don't let them define you. Forgive yourself for your past, but use it as fuel to build a wiser future. Evolution is about progress, not perfection. Every lesson matters. Every step counts. Moreover, your goals and dreams will evolve too. What you wanted 5 years ago might not be what you want now, and that's okay. You're allowed to change direction. You're allowed to outgrow old dreams. Just make sure that wherever you go next, you go with intention and integrity. Don't hold on to a version of yourself that no longer fits your vision. Staying committed to your evolution also builds resilience. When you focus on growth rather than just outcomes, failure doesn't break you. It teaches you. Setbacks become stepping stones. Challenges become character builders. And success becomes more than a destination. It becomes a reflection of how far you've come and how much you've grown. The journey of evolution never ends. No matter how much you've achieved, there's always room for refinement, for learning, for becoming. Each day is a fresh opportunity to evolve just a little more, to be sharper in your thoughts, kinder in your actions, bolder in your dreams, and stronger in your purpose. Or